Hip and pelvis. This is my hip. It's made up of a long leg bone called the femur, and then there's a ball on that bone, goes into a socket. That socket is on the pelvis. That pelvis is connected to my spine. This video is going to give you a better understanding of how to target the hip and the pelvis, which is the powerhouse of the human body. Your center of gravity, your organs, most of your weight should rest inside of your pelvis, which means if I take my pelvis that way, what do I need to take with it? The rest of the body. So wherever you're going, whatever foot is coming forward first, that pelvis should turn and join it. So that being said, stepping forward, turning to the outside, stepping back, stepping forward, turning to the outside, stepping back. Or start forward, turn to the back side, lift the back foot, put it back down. Keep that pelvis locked into one side, and you're going to keep your balance, your head, your chest, everything into this column. Why? Because the pelvis goes that way. Now, if I point my pelvis that way, and then I take my foot this way, I'm going to be in a funny position. Many people do that when they walk, when they run. It's commonly why they have repetitive stressors to the knee. If your pelvis is locked up because your spine is stiff, then you need to decompress and learn to move it. A couple little rotary exercises here is I'm going to take the hips back with my hands on the hips. I'm going to take it around town. Some of you might notice this from our favorite yellow sponge. Move it around town. It's from the jellyfishing episode. Yeah, one of the best ones ever. So you're just moving that pelvis, exaggerating movements, trying to keep pressure in the feet. You're going to find that a lot of people get stuck and they don't have this full movement. Or they go slow and it speeds up through an area to try to get through it. I want you to work on hips back, turn the pelvis side to side. What that does is it rotates the pelvis around the hip socket. So it's not always the hip that rotates in the socket. Sometimes the pelvis can rotate around the hip. Most of the exercises that I'm teaching this week are based off the pelvis rotating around the hip, which is why we have to have good upper body control. When we can move the pelvis around the hip, then we can load the appropriate tissues that are going to give us a spring to get to the other side. So little slow little drops, little walks. Bum, 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 bum. The front hip is open, the pelvis turns, the chest follows, the back hip is closed. If you get that synchronized, you're going to regain control of your hips.